Good evening, everybody. Am I audible? Yes, Sahadev, good evening. Bindu Sri, good evening. Am I audible to everyone? Lahari Priya, Hema, good evening. Uma Maheshwari. Am I audible to everyone? Please respond. Am I audible? Please respond. Am I audible to everyone? Am I audible? Yes. So what we are going to see, I'm going to discuss with you about data science. So in this master class, first I'll be discussing with you about Python and what are all the essential libraries that are required. All those things I'll be discussing, and then I'll be discussing the important business visualization tools, and finally I'll be discussing with you about some projects. All right. So what we are going to cover. So what is master class? So it is a 30-day industrial activity. So once you are going to spend 45 minutes every day in the YouTube, daily if you are going to spend 45 minutes, so you'll become a master in data science. All right. And at the end of 30 days, you will be receiving a free webinar certificate. E-certificate will be provided. All right. So what you are going to learn. So as I told you, right. So this is how our agenda looks like. So first we are going to learn about Python. So what is the basics of Python? So I'm just going to discuss with you about what is this language, what are all the basic syntaxes. So I'm just going to discuss with you about Python. I'm going to give a brief introduction to Python language and what are all the different data types, decision making statements, all those available in Python. And then in the next module, I'll be discussing with you about the libraries. So what are all the essential libraries that are required for my development? So Pandas, Numpy, Matplotlib, SKLearn and Seaborn Library. So what are all the essential libraries that are required for my development? And then in the third module, so I'll be discussing with you about various aggregation functions and visualization functions. So what do you mean by data wrangling? So what do you mean by data science? So we are going to analyze the data. So the world is evolving around data. So what do you mean by data science? So we are just going to analyze the data. So what the data is, we are just going to collect the data. We are going to analyze the data. We are trying to get some meaning out of the data, and then we are going to make some important predictions. So this is what is called as data science. So in order to do data science, so I am just splitting this into 5 modules. So what we are going to learn in this 30 days. So as I told you, right, first I'll be discussing with you about Python. So what do you mean by Python? What are all the important data types? All those things I'll be discussing. And then in the next module, I'll be discussing with you about the various libraries. So what do you mean by Pandas library? What do you mean by Numpy, Matplotlib and all these essential libraries? And then I'll be discussing with you about various aggregation functions. So visualization and aggregation functions. And then in the fourth module, I'll be discussing with you about the tools. So what do you mean by Tableau, Power BI? So all these are important business visualization tools. And finally, I'll be discussing with you about some major projects. So I'm just splitting this into 5 major modules. So all these, what we are going to cover in this 30 days. So this is how our agenda looks like. So what we are going to see in this 30 days. So firstly, I'm going to discuss with you about the Python language. So this is how all these modules I have just splitted. So I am going to discuss with you about the basics of Python. So what is this language and what are the different data types and what are the different types of statements that are available in Python. Next time, and then in the next module, what I'm going to discuss with you. So I'm going to discuss with you about the various types of libraries. So how we are going to analyze the data. As I told you, right, what we are going to do in this kind of data science. So what do you mean by data science? From the term, you can just understand what do you mean by data science. It is nothing about science, study of data. So we are just going to collect the data. We are going to analyze the data. We are going to we are going to understand the data, the meaning that is hidden inside the data. And then we are going to make some important predictions. So this is what is called as data science. So how I'm going to analyze the data? So I require some essential libraries. So how I'm going to collect the data, as I told you, right, what are the different steps that are involved. So I'm going to discuss with you about important libraries like Pandas, Numpy, Matplotlib, SKLearn, and then Seaborn Library. So I'm just going to discuss with you about some important libraries. So what are the important libraries that are essential for my development? And then in the third module, what I'm going to do, so after library section, first I'm going to discuss with you about the language. So how I'm going to develop the, whatever data science projects, everything is developed using Python language. And then I'm going to discuss with you about the important libraries. What are the essential libraries that are required for my development? So after discussing with you about the library section, what is the third section I'm going to discuss with you? So the important, after this, the aggregation functions. So how I'm going to analyze the data. So data aggregation functions, data wrangling. So how I'm going to collect the data, how I'm going to analyze, data analysis part. I have to analyze the data, right? In order to understand the data, I'm going to analyze the data. Alright. So I'm going to discuss with you about various data analysis topics, statistical distributions. So this is how the agenda goes. This is the third module. And then in the fourth module, what I'm going to discuss with you, I'm going to discuss with you about the business visualization tools. So how the, for example, after the sum of profit, so how my module looks. So whatever I have developed, I'm just visualizing in the form of various types of graphs. So a business visualization tool. So I'm going to discuss with you about Tableau and Power BI. And finally, I'll be discussing with you about the project section. So what are the important projects that are developed? So I'm going to discuss with you about some important projects. So do you get my point? What we are going to see in this 30 days? So what is about data science and what we are going to see in this 30 days? Alright. So this is how my agenda looks like. So I hope I'm clear with whatever I am speaking. So this is the Daywise plan. So as I told you, right, what we are going to see in this 30 days. So first I'm going to cover with the Python basics. What do you mean by this language? And then I'll be discussing with you about the libraries. So as I told you, right, what do you mean by data science? So from the term you can just understand. So from the raw data, I'm trying to find some meaning out of my raw data. The meaning hidden inside this data, and then I'm going to make some important predictions. So this is what is called as data science, analyzing the data and making some important predictions. So what are the essential libraries that are required for my development? So I require Python, that is Pandas, Numpy, Matplotlib, SKLearn, and then Seaborn Library. And then I'll be discussing with you about important aggregation functions. So what do you mean by data wrangling? So I have to analyze the data, right? In order to understand the data properly, I have to analyze the data. So I'm going to discuss with you about various types of aggregation functions. So what do you mean by data wrangling? What do you mean by stemming technique, tokenization, and visualization technique? So EDA part, exploratory data analysis. So how I'm going to visualize in the form of various types of plots here. And then I'm going to discuss with you about the statistical analysis and chi-square test. So after that, I'm going to discuss with you about Tableau, that is a business visualization tool. So I'm going to discuss with you about the basics, and then we'll be discussing with you about the projects. So what are the different projects that are developed? What are the important data science projects? So alright. So what you're going to get from this 30 days masterclass? So you'll be getting a free webinar certificate and you'll become a master in data science. So this is the plan here. So you can see, so you'll be getting a masterclass participation certificate, and minimum you have to attend 25 classes in order to get this participation certificate. And you have to attend the class every day, YouTube live every day, and all the projects. So whatever projects I am discussing, everything I'll be showing you live in the YouTube, and you can access this for 3 days. Alright. So let me just start. I hope whatever I have discussed, is that clear to everybody? So this is my agenda. So if you are interested, you can join for internship as well. Alright. So you are clear with this plan. What do you mean by, so what we are going to see in this 30 days. So you are all with me till this part, whatever I am speaking, you are all with me. Yes. So what is data science? So anybody can tell me your view about data science. So what is data science? Anybody can tell me what is data science? Anybody? Yes, study about data. Any other answers? So what is your view about data science? We are going to, why the world is evolving around this technology, data science and machine learning. Anybody can tell me what do you mean by data science? Yes. So it is nothing but a interdisciplinary field. It uses some scientific methods and algorithms. So in order to extract the knowledge from the data, and we are going to apply the knowledge obtained from the data across a broad range of application domains. So this is the proper definition of data science. So as I told you, right, what do you mean by data science? So I'm going to employ various algorithms, scientific techniques and algorithms in order to extract the meaning hidden inside the data. You can say knowledge or meaning hidden inside the data, and then I'm going to apply that knowledge across a broad range of application domains. So am I making sense? What do you mean by data science? So predictive analytics. So what do you mean by interdisciplinary field? So across various disciplines. So you can collect some medical data and you can analyze. You can collect some data from financial sectors and you can analyze. So you can apply this across various fields. So this is what is called as data science. So what do you mean by data science? That is the scientific study of data. So in simple words, you can call this as scientific study of data. So I'm collecting the data. So I'm employing various algorithms. That is scientific methods, or you can say algorithms or techniques. I'm going to extract some knowledge from the data. So what the data means, as I told you, right, I'm going to find the patterns, or I'm going to find the meaning or hidden inside the data. So knowledge hidden inside the data. And I'm going to apply that knowledge to a broad range of application domains. So this is what is called as data science. In simple words, it is nothing but scientific study of data. So I'm going to study the data, analyze the data, and I'm going to make some important predictions. Is that clear? What do you mean by data science? Study of data in a scientific manner. Yes. This is what, yes, all your answers are correct. So this is what is called as data science. So in order to do data science, in order to do any kind of data science tasks, so I'm using a Python language. So Python is the popularly used language for doing any kind of predictive analytics. So what is Python? So why I'm going for Python for doing any kind of predictive analytics? So it comes under high-level programming language, and it is a easy to learn language. So the syntax is simpler and applications can be developed at a faster rate using Python. So all this makes this a very powerful language, and it is platform independent. So I can run Python in any platform. So all these are the major reasons why I am going for Python for doing any kind of predictive analytics. So am I making sense? So it is a high level programming language. So what are the important things you should remember about Python? So it is a high level programming language, and it is fast to learn, and applications can be developed at a faster rate using Python. And it is platform independent. It can run on any platform. So all these are the major reasons why I am going for Python language. So it was developed. So what is the history of Python? So it was developed by Guido van Rossum in the year 1989 at National Research Institute for Mathematics and Computer Science in Netherlands. So who invented this language? So Python was invented by Guido van Rossum in the year 1989. At National Research Institute for Mathematics and Computer Science in Netherlands. So why we have to go for Python? So as I told you, right, what do you mean by this language, and why we have to go for this Python language? So what are the different types of applications that can be developed using Python? So complex data processing tasks. So as I told you, right, what do you mean by data science? A huge volume of data is being generated. So we are going to collect the data from various sources. We are going to analyze the data, find the patterns hidden inside the data, and then we are going to make some important predictions. So for that I am going for Python language. For processing any complex data, I can go for Python language. And it is used in signal processing applications. For example, neurosignals, brain signals. So I have to analyze some brain images and I am going to make some important predictions. So for all those predictions, I can go for Python language. So it has got a greater contribution in signal processing tasks. And it is used in gaming software. So the games are very popular among the kids. So the kids, they are crazy about playing different types of games. So some play for adventurous games. So humorous, so detective games. So Pygame is a popularly used module, that is gaming module. So it is developed using Python language. So what makes this language a very powerful one? See the variety of applications that can be developed using Python language. And Maya Python, a movie creation tool. So Maya Python is a movie creation tool. It can be developed using Python language. So many different types of movies are being created. Say adventurous movies, humorous movies, romantic movies. So all these types of movies, so whatever may be the movies, many online movie sites are developing, right? So all these types of movies can be developed using Python language. And musical software. So many different types of musics are being played. So if I want to analyze the quality of music, whether it is an analog music or a digital music, so I want to analyze the musical notation. I want to understand the meaning of music. So once I'm hearing the music, it is soothing. So if I understand the meaning, so I'm going to feel the music, right? So the quality of music can be analyzed using Python language. So all these are the important applications of Python language. And website development framework. So if I want to integrate, if I want to have user-friendly features, graphical user interfaces, all these can be developed using Python language. So a website development framework, Django. So it is a powerful website development framework, and it is written in Python language. So all these are the different types of applications that can be developed using Python. So what makes this language a very powerful one? See, a variety of applications. What makes this language a very powerful language? A variety of applications can be developed using Python language. Say from signal processing. So I'm going to analyze the brain signals and I'm going to make some important predictions. So I can go for Python language. And gaming software, Pygame, game making software. So what type of games are played? So all this can be developed using Python language. And Maya Python. So movie creation tool. So all this can be developed using Python language. So all these are the different types of applications that can be developed using Python language. Am I making sense? What makes this language a very powerful one? Next, I'm just going to talk with you about Python 2 versus Python 3. So Python 3, it is the latest version of Python that is available, and Python 2 is the previous version, older version of Python 3. So why we are still using Python 2? So it contains some important libraries which Python 3 doesn't have. So that is why we are using Python 2 till now. So all these are the major differences between Python 2 versus Python 3. So till this part, whatever I am discussing, is that clear to everybody? So what do you mean by Python language? Yes. So Python, it is a very important language. So am I making sense? So till this part, whatever I am discussing, is that clear to everybody? Yes. Yes, I am slow. Yeah. So what do you mean by Python language? So as I told you, right, whatever is the predictive analytics we are doing, so whatever is the predictive task we are doing, so everything is developed using Python language. So all these are the important applications of Python. So website development framework, musical software. See the variety of applications that can be developed using Python language. Pygame, game making software. So games are popularly played among different types of games are played among kids. So all this can be developed using Python language. And website development framework. So Django, it is a very powerful website development framework, and all this can be developed using Python language. Alright. So all these are the important features you should understand about Python language. Next, I'm just going to discuss with you about the basics of Python. So how you have to install. So I just discuss with you about the installation steps. So you can just go to Google. So if you want to use Python, that is Anaconda Navigator distribution. So you can just go to Google. So just type Anaconda Navigator. So it is an open source distribution that is available. Just type Anaconda Navigator. So you can just download Anaconda Navigator. So what you have to do, so I am just typing Anaconda Navigator. You go to the first link. You can just download Anaconda Navigator. So it is an open source distribution. You can just click the download button, and once the Anaconda Navigator it is downloaded, so you can just double click the setup file, and you have to follow the agreement. That is, you have to follow the dialog box. You have to click the next button, and the Anaconda navigator will be installed. So once it is installed, you can just go to the start menu. So if you click Anaconda navigator, so here you will be getting this Anaconda navigator. So once you click this, so you'll be getting the home screen like this. So this is the home screen of Anaconda navigator. So if I want to write any type of Python coding, so how I have to do so? So I have to click new and then I have to go for Python 3. So I'll be getting a new notebook like this. So am I making sense? So a new notebook will be opened like this, and whatever I type here, it is a command line kind of a thing. So what do you mean by that is notebook environment? So whatever I type in the code cell, so I'll be getting the output just below the input. For example, I'm just typing print within double quotes. I'm just giving as hello everyone. So I'm just typing as hello everyone. So if I'm going to type whatever I type inside the print statement, so I have to give the print keyword within double quotes. So whatever I type, so if I give as hello everyone, so I'm going to get the output just below the input. So it is an interactive notebook environment. So what do you mean by interactive notebook environment? So whatever I type, so I'm typing something in the code cell. So whatever I type in the code cell, so I'm going to get the output just below the input. So I'm just printing. So I'm just typing print within double quotes. I'm giving as hello everyone. So I'm going to get the output just below the input. So it is a interactive notebook environment that is available. So am I making sense? So when I'm going to run this code, so whatever I give within the print statement, I'm going to get the output just below the input. Am I making sense? Next, I'm just going to discuss with you about the various types of identifiers. So you are clear with the installation step? Till this part, whatever I am discussing, is that clear? As I'll go till this part, idle and Anaconda. So it is a distribution. Python idle, it is one more IDE for writing Python code. Yes, you can use PyCharm as well, Shaik. Jupyter Notebook. Yes. I'll just show how to open Jupyter Notebook. See, once you go here, so you can go to home screen. So here you are having right new option. So you can go for Python 3. So it will open in a new file. So am I making sense? So it is going to open in a new file. So here you can use a Jupyter Notebook. Is that clear? Till this part, whatever I am discussing, is that clear to everybody? Any doubts so far? Till this part, yes, I'll go slow. Till this part, whatever I am discussing, is that clear to everybody? Any doubts? Alright, yes, I'll go slow. Yes, till this part, whatever I am discussing. Any doubts? My screen is visible, right? So whatever I am typing, see code, whatever, it is an interactive notebook environment. For example, I am typing hello everyone. So whatever I type here, so I am going to get the output just below the input. Is that clear? What do you mean by Jupyter Notebook? Save the code. You can go to file, save as is there, right? You can just click save as and you can save the code. Any more doubts? Yes, I'll go slow. Any more doubts? Any more doubts? Yes, you can use PyCharm as well. Yes, you can use PyCharm as well. Yes. So till this part, okay. So alright, I'm just continuing. So next I'm just going to discuss with you about the Python identifiers. So what do you mean by an identifier? So an identifier, so from the name you can just understand. So it is used to identify a variable, a function, a class. So we are just giving a name. So it is going to identify a variable. So it is called as Python identifiers. So the naming conventions. So what are all the important rules you should follow while using identifiers? So it should contain the alphabets, that is A to Z or small a to Z, and underscores are allowed and digits are allowed. So these are all the important rules you should follow while naming an identifier. So what do you mean by an identifier? So I am going to discuss with you about identifiers in Python. So what do you mean by an identifier? It is nothing but a name, unique name that is given to my variable. Identifies my variable. So name given to my variable, it is called as an identifier in Python. So am I making sense? So what are all the important rules you should follow? So it can contain only alphabets from A to Z, all small A to Z, and it can contain numbers, and it can contain only underscore characters. So all these are the important rules you should remember while naming an identifier. So am I making sense? So it cannot contain any special characters. So only alphabets are allowed. So you can go for small, that is capital A to Z, or small A to Z, or it can contain digits from 0 to 9, or it can contain some underscore character. So all these are the important rules you should follow while naming an identifier. So is that clear? What do you mean by an identifier? It is just used to identify a variable, a unique name. So it is called as an identifier. So I am just going to tell you one simple example. So what do you mean by an identifier? Say for example, I am going to store some color. So for example, 1 minute. So what I am giving? So what do you mean by an identifier? So for example, I am going to store some color. Say for example, I have to give the name as color. So this is an identifier. So it just identifies. So from the name, I can just understand this variable is going to hold a color. So this is an example of identifier. So I am just identifying the variables with some unique names. So this is what is called as identifiers. So next I am just going to discuss with you about the reserved keywords. So what do you mean by a reserved keyword? So keyword, for example, if I want to define a class or if I want to define a function, so how I am going to do so? So I have to use the def keyword for defining a function. All these are reserved keywords you should remember. So when I am going to discuss in detail, so I'll elaborate this in detail. Just remember what are all the reserved keywords that are available in this Python language. So for example, break is a reserved keyword, class is a reserved keyword, continue, this is the keyword, def. So I am going to define the user defined function with the help of def keyword, and del. So all these are reserved keywords that are available in Python. So am I making sense? So what do you mean by comments in Python? So what do you mean by keywords? So they are going to define, so all these are reserved words. So whenever I am going to use some reserved keywords, they are having a purposeful function. They are going to perform some specific function. For example, if I want to define a function, I have to use the def keyword. So it is a reserved keyword. So we have various types of reserved keywords that are available in Python. So next I am just going to discuss with you about the comments part. So what do you mean by comments? So in each and every language, we have comments, right? So what do you mean by comments? Yes, I'll go slow. So what do you mean by comments? So it just provides a brief description about what that line of code is going to do. So am I making sense? What do you mean by comments? So it just provides a description about what that line of code is going to do. So it is prepended by a single hash sign. So what do you mean by a comment? For example, I am just giving this as first comment. So I am just printing hello Python. So whatever I am giving here, so this is a commented section. So what do you mean by a comment? It just provides a description about what that line of code is going to do. So am I making sense? So once I prepare this with single hash sign, first comment I am just giving here. So I am just giving a print statement hello Python. So whenever I am going to prepare this with this comment, so it just prints. So it just provides a brief description about my code. So this is what is called as comments. So when I am developing some bigger applications, so why I am going for this type of comments? So in order to understand my code properly, in order to provide more readability to my code, in order to understand my code properly, I am going for various types of comments that are available in Python. So am I making sense? What do you mean by comments in Python? So what do you mean by comments? For example, so I am just giving here, so first comment. So I am just giving, this is a commented part. So I am just giving here first comment. So say for example, data science. So I am just giving this as data science. So what I am trying to do here, so I am just giving a brief description, first comment. So this is my first comment. So how will you write a comment? So it is prepended with a simple hash sign. So if I am going to have a hash sign, so I am giving a hash sign and then I am giving as first comment. So whatever I am typing below this, for example, I am giving as data science. So I will be getting this data science at the output. So is that clear? What do you mean by comments in Python? Next I am going to discuss with you about what do you mean by a variable in Python. So what do you mean by a variable? It is nothing but we are going to allocate some memories. So a variable is nothing but it is used to store some values. So it allocates some memory space for assigning different values. So this is what is called as variables. So majorly we have different types of variables. For example, I have an integer type. So if I want to store some whole number values, I have to go for integer type. So if I want to store some decimal point values, so I have to go for floating point type. Or otherwise, if I want to store some string values, so I have to enclose within double quotes. So I have to go for string data type. So all these are the different types of variables that are available in Python. So first I need to look at the problem. So what type of problem I have in hand, and accordingly I have to choose the different types of variables. So if I want to store integer values, that is whole number values, I have to go for integer data type. Say for example, counter equal to 100. So it stores a whole number value, right? So it comes under integer data type. And if I want to store some floating point values, so it comes under decimal point type. For example, 1000.0, it is stored in the variable called miles. And if I want to store a string variable within double quotes, so it comes under string data type. So all these are the different types of variables that are available in Python. Am I making sense? So what do you mean by variable? They are used to hold different types of values. For example, I am storing this. For example, I want to store some integer value. So this is an integer data type, and if I want to store some floating point value, 56.78, or if I want to store some string data type, I am storing as garden, or say for example rising sun. So I am just storing this as rising sun. So all these are the different types of variables that are available in Python. Say for example, I want to print the floating point type at the output. So after typing my code in the code cell, I am clicking the run button. The first one, it just holds an integer data type, that is whole number value. The second one, it just stores a floating point type, that is pointed value, decimal point values. The third one, it just stores a string data type. It is enclosed within double quotes. Am I making sense? What are the different types of variables? What are the different variables types that are available in Python? So I have to look at the problem. So as I told you, right, what do you mean by data science? So I am going to analyze my data and I am going to make some important predictions. So am I making sense? What I am trying to do here in data science, in machine learning. So what I am trying to do here, so I am going to analyze the data. So I am going to collect the data. So I am going to find the pattern hidden in the data. And I am going to make some important predictions. So this is what is called as data science. So I am going to find the meaning hidden inside the data. So in order to analyze the data, first I have to understand the data. So whether it contains some integer values, whole number values, or it contains some floating point numbers, that is decimal point numbers, or it contains some string characters, that is sequence of characters which is enclosed within double quotes. So what are the different types of variables that are available in Python? So am I making sense? What do you mean by variable? So it defines the type of data that the variable holds and the amount of memory required to store that value. So integer data type, it requires some amount of memory, and floating point type, it requires some amount of memory, and string data type, it requires different amount of memory. So this is what is called as different types of variables that are available in Python. Next I am just going to discuss with you about what are all that is, you have different types, variable types. That is, it can be a numbers, you can store numbers, you can store string values, and it can contain a list. So a list is nothing but a collection of values. So it is enclosed within square brackets. So all these are different types of variable, that is different variable types that are available in Python. So what do you mean by a list? So if I am going to store some collection of values, am I making sense? So all these are the different types of variables that are available in Python. So if I'm storing some collection of different values, I can go for a tuple or I can go for a dictionary. So all these are the different variable types that are available in this Python language. So am I making sense? Yes. So what I'm going to do here, so as I told you, right, numerical value, integer values if I'm going to store, so I'm going to assign some whole number values to my variable. So am I making sense? So this is called as integer, that is numbers data type. So variable 1 equal to 1 and variable 2 equal to 10. So if I'm going to store some whole number values, so this is called as number data types, that is variable types. So what type of value that variable holds? So this is what is called as different variable types that are available in Python. So am I making sense? So you can have different types of variables. For example, so this is a string variable, correct? For example, string equal to, the string types are enclosed within double quotes or single quotes. For example, I am just storing this as hello world. So I am just enclosing within single quotes or double quotes. So I am just printing this string at the output. So whatever is typed within the single quotes or double quotes, it is going to be printed at the output. And if I want to fetch the character that is stored at the 0th index, for example, string of 0. So h will be printed at the output. And if I want to fetch the characters from 2 to 5. So what do you mean by colon operator? This is used for slicing. So based on index, so I can fetch some specific character from my input string. So how to fetch a specific character from my input string? So I have to give the variable name within square bracket. I have to specify the corresponding index value. So if I want to fetch the character at the 0th index, so I have to specify the index as 0. Or if I want to fetch the character at the first index, so I have to specify the index as 1. So the variable name within square bracket, I have to specify the corresponding index value. And what is the use of colon operator that is available? If I want to extract a specific set of characters, for example, I have to print a range of characters from 2 to 5. So before colon indicates the start index and after colon indicates the end index. So from second character till fourth character, what are all the available characters that are present in my string? So I have to use this str keyword, that is string keyword, within square bracket. Before colon indicates the start index. From my second character till the fourth character, what are all the characters that are present at my string? It will be displayed at the output. So all these are the different types of operations that can be performed using my strings. So what makes strings a very powerful concept? So I can play around with strings. So you are clear what do you mean by what I am trying to do here? So I can add two strings, I can perform concatenation, I can extract some specific characters. So what I am trying to do here, so what are the different types of string functions that can be performed? For examples, so what are the different types of string function? So for example, I am just storing garden. Alright, I am just storing a string called garden. So I am storing in the variable called pit. So inside this, if I want to fetch the variable character at the 0th index, I have to specify the corresponding index value. So within square bracket, so the indexing starts from 0. At the 0th index, G is stored. At the first index, A is stored. At the second index, R is stored. Third index, D is stored. Fourth index, E is stored. And at the fifth index, N is stored. So within square brackets, I have to specify the corresponding index value. So at the 0th index, whichever element is present in my string, so G will be displayed at the output. So am I making sense? What are the different types of operations? Similarly, what is the use of colon operator? It is used for extracting some specific values. Say for example, from first index till the third index, what are all the elements present in my string? So before colon indicates the start index and after colon indicates the end index. So am I making sense? So the indexing starts from 0th position and at the first index I have the value as A. Am I making sense? And the end index is always exclusive. So at the second position R is there. So A and R will be displayed at the output. So am I making sense? So how I can play around with strings? So what are all the different types of operations that can be performed using strings? So all these are the different types of operations that can be performed using strings. So let me just illustrate this example. What are all the different types of operations that can be performed using strings? So let me just illustrate in Jupyter. So what are all the different types of operations that can be performed using strings? So what I am trying to do here, so all these are the different types of operations that can be performed using strings. So you can see here, first I am just storing hello world. So whichever string I am trying to enclose, so I have to enclose within single bracket or double quotes, single quotes or double quotes. It is stored in the variable called string. So I am just printing the string at the output. After doing this, so using this variable within square bracket, I have to extract whatever is stored in the 0th index. So within square bracket, I have to give the corresponding index position. So at the 0th index, so I have h. So whichever index position I specify, so whichever character is present at the corresponding index, it will be displayed at the output. And if I want to extract some specific characters from 2nd index to 5th index, so at the 2nd index, L is present. So the start index is inclusive and the end index is always exclusive. So before colon indicates the start index and after colon indicates the end index. So am I making sense? So what are the different types of operations that can be performed using strings? So I have to analyze the data. So as I told you, right, what I am going to do in all these kind of data science. So I am going to analyze the data. So I am going to analyze the data from various perspectives. So if I want to multiply the string, for example, so multiplication operation, so hello world will be printed 2 times. And if I want to concatenate strings, for example, this is my first string and I am trying to append tests with this first string. So whenever I am going to do some sort of concatenation, I have to go for plus operator. So how you are adding 2 numbers? Similarly, I am trying to append 2 strings using plus operator. So is this clear? What are all the different types of operations that can be performed on strings? So till this part, whatever I am explaining, is this clear to everybody? Any doubts so far? So what do you mean by strings? What are all the different types of operations that can be performed using strings? So till this part, everything is clear? Alright. So next I am just going to discuss with you. All these are the different types of operations that can be performed using strings. Next, I am just going to discuss with you about next important data structure, that is list. So what do you mean by a list? So basically a sequence, that is nothing but a collection of elements. It is called as a list. A collection of heterogeneous elements. It is called as a list. So what do you mean by a list? Basically what is a list? So it is nothing but a collection of heterogeneous types of elements. So what do you mean by a list? So this is one important data structure that is available in Python. So next I am just going to discuss with you about list. So a list is nothing but a collection of heterogeneous type of elements. Say for example, I am storing 10, 20, say for example 9.5. So I am just storing sun. Alright. So what do you mean by a list? So this is the syntax for creating a list. So it is enclosed within square brackets. So whatever I am typing, it is enclosed within square brackets. It contains a collection of different types of elements. Say it contains some integer numbers, for example floating point numbers, and it contains a string value. A list is nothing but a collection of heterogeneous types of data elements. So a collection or a sequence. So technically you can just call this as a sequence. So this is what they are separated by comma. So each and every element in the list, it is separated by comma and they are enclosed within square bracket. So am I making sense? What do you mean by a list? So this is what is called as a list. So this is one example of a list. Say for example, it is nothing but a collection of comma separated values. So as I told you, right, what do you mean by a list? It is nothing but a collection of comma separated values. That is, it is nothing but a collection of heterogeneous types of data elements. It is enclosed within square brackets. Am I making sense? What do you mean by list? So it is nothing but a collection of comma separated values between square brackets. So this is my list 1. It contains some different elements. Within single quotes, it contains physics. So all these are different subjects, right? And what are all the different years? So it is nothing but a collection of heterogeneous types of data elements. And my list 2 contains some 5 numbers. And my list 3 contains some collection of strings. So I can store any type of values. It can contain a homogeneous collection of elements, or it can contain a heterogeneous collection of data elements. So ultimately, what do you mean by a list? It is nothing but a collection of different types of elements, comma separated values. So am I making sense? What do you mean by a list? So let me just show you a simple list. So what I am storing? So I am storing some subject values and numbers. So how I am accessing? So using the corresponding index position. So the list name within square bracket at the corresponding index, whichever element is present in the list, it will be displayed at the output. Similarly, I can perform slicing. So using colon operator, if I want to extract some specific elements from my list, so from first index till fourth index, what are all the elements that are present in my list, it will be displayed at the output. So is that clear? Yes. So with this part, I am just stopping today. So if you have any doubts, you can just ask me. So I hope I am clear with my topics. So if you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning and you can register for data science internship program. So you'll be getting access to the IPYNB files, the lecture notes, the PPTs, the records. You'll be getting access to everything. So once you register, you can attend the hackathon, which is going to happen every Sunday. So I hope I'm clear with my topics. Yes. Any doubts? Any doubts? Any doubts so far? Any doubts? If you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning and you can register for data science internship program. As I told you, right, I'm not able to, my scroll box, my chat box is rolling very faster. So any doubts? Any doubts? Any doubts? Any doubts? Actually, yeah, I'll go slower. So my chat box is rolling very faster. I'm not able to see. So once you register, you'll be getting further details. What is the, yes, I'll go a bit slower. What is the cost of this program? So once you register, you'll be getting more details. Any more doubts? Any more doubts? Which one you want me to repeat? Tuple, tomorrow's class I'll just give you. Yes, I'll go slower. So tomorrow's class I'll just explain about tuple. Tomorrow's class I'll just explain about tuple. Any more doubts? Yeah, I'll go a bit slower. Yes. Any more doubts? The chat box is rolling very faster. I'm not able to. So if you are interested, I'm not able to. You can go to pantechelearning and you can register for data science internship program. So you'll be getting access to the IPYNB files. So the lecture notes, the recordings. So more hands-on experience and classroom instructions will be given. So once you register, you can just attend the hackathon, which is going to happen every Sunday. So any doubts so far? Till this part, what are I explained? Is this clear to everybody? Any doubts? Actually, my chat box is rolling very faster. I'm not able to look at. See, you want me to explain. See, the colon operator, this is my list 2, right? So the colon operator, it is used to extract some specific elements from my list. So the before colon indicates the start index and after colon indicates the end index. So for example, from the first index position, so this is at the first index 2 is stored. From the first index till the fourth index, so the end index is always exclusive. So what are the elements that are stored in my list? So 2, 3, 4 and 5. It will be fetched from my list and it will be displayed at the output. So am I making sense? What is the use of colon operator? Any more doubts? So if you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning and you can register. My chat box is rolling very fast. I am not able to, my chat box is rolling very fast, so I am not able to view your doubts. So if you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning. You can register for data science internship program. So in mobile, if you want to develop, you can go for Pydroid app that is available. List is nothing but a collection of elements. So as I told you, right, what do you mean by a list? So it is nothing, it is a specific type of data structure. So what do you mean by a list? It is nothing but a collection of elements. For example, it can contain 10, 20, 10.5. So it is nothing but a collection of different types of elements. It can be a different type or the same type. They are being separated by comma. So this is an example of list, sample list. So I am just giving the name as sample list. So is that clear? What do you mean by a list? Someone asked me, right, what do you mean by a list? So this is what is called as a list. Am I making sense? If you are interested, if you want PPTs or anything, you can go to pantechelearning. Yes, you can go for any other language, but Python is the best language because it is simpler for data analytic tasks. So I am going Python language. I am using Python for data science. Am I making sense? If you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning. You can register for data science internship program. So you'll be getting access to the IPYNB files. So how the codes are being developed, the lecture notes. So you'll be getting access to everything. So once you register, register for internship program, so you can attend the hackathon which is going to happen every Sunday. Alright. So any more doubts? Any more doubts? So till this part, whatever I have explained, is this clear to everybody? Any doubts so far? Python 2, as I told you, right? So it is the previous version. So it contains some important libraries which Python 3 doesn't have. That is the main difference between Python 2 and Python 3. Am I clear? So any more doubts? If you are interested, if you want my notes or lecture videos, you can go to pantechelearning and you can register for data science internship program. Alright. Any more doubts? Any more doubts? Any more doubts? Actually, my chat box is rolling faster. I am not able to see everything. Any more doubts? Yes, once you attend this masterclass for 30 days, you will be getting a free webinar certificate. Any more doubts? Any more doubts? If you are interested, if you want my PPTs, you can go to pantechelearning. You can just register for data science internship program. So you'll be getting access to the IPYNB files, how the videos are being developed, how the codes are being developed, the lecture notes, the PPTs. So once you register, you can attend the hackathon which is going to happen every Sunday. Yes, I'll teach a bit slower. So other than that, any more doubts? Other than that, any more doubts? Any more doubts? So I hope I'm clear with all my topics. Any more doubts? Any more doubts? Any more doubts till this part? Whatever I have explained, is this clear to everybody? Any more doubts? List 1. Actually my chat box is rolling a bit faster. I am not able to. Semicolon, which one you are asking? List. Yeah, if you want you can. This is not a mandatory one. Just I have kept some semicolon. If you want, even if I do put without semicolon, it will work. Alright. Any more doubts? Mobile app, you can go for Pydroid. Any more doubts? Any more doubts? Any more doubts? Till this part, whatever I have explained, is this clear to everybody? Any more doubts? Even if I am doing without semicolon, it will work. Alright. So my chat box is rolling very faster. So that is why I am not able to. Any more doubts? If you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning. You can register for data science internship program. So you'll be getting access to the IPYNB files, how the codes are being developed, the lecture videos, the records. More hands-on experience and classroom instructions will be given. So once you register for internship, you can attend the hackathon, which is going to happen every Sunday. Any more doubts? List, as I told you, right, if you want to store a collection of elements, you can go for list. So based on the context, you can go for different types of data structures that are available. Is that clear? What is the use of list? Someone asked me, right, what is the use of list? Any more doubts? Dictionary key value pairs, I'll be discussing with you later. So in my tomorrow's class, I'll be discussing with you about tuples and dictionaries and everything. Am I making sense? Any more doubts? Negative slicing, if you want to print in the reverse direction, you can go for negative slicing. Am I making sense? Any more doubts? Any more doubts? So I hope I'm clear with my topics. Any more doubts? Strings are nothing but a collection of characters. A sequence of characters is called as a string. A sequence of characters is called as a string. So am I making sense? What do you mean by a string? A sequence of characters is called as a string. Any more doubts? Yes, once you register, so you can participate in the hackathon, which is going to happen every Sunday. So any more doubts? Any more doubts? I hope I'm clear with my topics. Any more doubts? If you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning. You can register for data science internship program. Yes, I'll go a bit slower. So you can register for data science internship program. So you'll be getting access to the IPYNB files, the lecture notes, the videos. So how the projects are being developed. Yes. More hands-on experience and classroom instructions will be given. Any more doubts? So once you register, you can participate in the hackathon, which is going to happen every Sunday. Any more doubts? Any more doubts? Yes, it is mutable. List is mutable. Yes, I'll teach a bit slow. Yes, list is mutable. Any more doubts? Any more doubts? Everything is clear, right? Yes, notes if you are interested. Difference between list and array. Array is a collection of homogeneous type of data elements, whereas list is a collection of heterogeneous type of data elements. It can be a homogeneous collection as well as a heterogeneous collection. That is the difference between an array and a list. Any more doubts? Please respond. Any more doubts? Any more doubts? Yes. So I hope I'm clear with my topics. So tomorrow I'll just continue with Python and then we'll see the remaining things. So till this part, whatever I have explained, is this clear to everybody? Any doubts so far? Semicolon, it's not mandatory. Any doubts? Actually, my chat box is rolling a bit faster. Any more doubts? Everything is clear. So I hope I'm clear with my topics. Hackathon, yes. So every Sunday, once you register for internship, you'll be getting more details about what is the hackathon and what are all the other steps you should follow. So if you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning and you can register for data science internship program. So you'll be getting access to the IPYNB files, the coding part, so how the projects are being developed. So more hands-on experience and classroom instructions will be given. So once you register, you can participate in the hackathon which is going to happen every Sunday. So till this part, whatever I have explained, is this clear to everybody? Once you complete the internship, you will be getting an internship certificate. So till this part, everything is clear. What is list, Rajesh? I told you, right? It is nothing but a collection of elements. It is called mobile app. Shivam, you can go for Python 3. Slicing, Vamsi, as I told you, right? If you want to extract some specific elements, some subset of elements, you can go for slicing. If I want to extract a specific element, I can go for a specific indexing. Yeah, a bit slower. Is that clear? What do you mean by slicing and indexing? Someone asked me, right? Multi-line comments. Yes, if you want, you can go for multi-line comments as well. So it just provides a description. That's it. I just told you what do you mean by comments. It just provides a description about my code. That's it. Sequence and list. Sequence is list is a type of sequence. Sequence is the major type and list is a subtype. You can keep it that way. So list is a type of sequence. Am I making sense? What do you mean by sequence? A chain of elements, a collection of elements, a group of elements. Correct? So a list is a type of sequence. Any more doubts? So if you are interested, Ajay, you can go to pantechelearning. You can register for, that is, data science internship program. So you'll be getting access to the IPYNB files, how the codes are being developed. So the lecture notes, more hands-on experience and classroom instructions will be given. So mobile app Python 3 is available. So how to slice a list? As I told you, right, using colon operator, I can go for slicing. Any more doubts? Difference between identifier and variable. So identifier is a unique name that is given to a variable. It identifies the type of value that a variable holds. So based on my application, I can go for unique names. The unique names are called as identifiers. Is that clear? Any more doubts? Slicing, as I told you, right? If I want to extract some specific elements from my list, or say for example, if I want to extract some specific elements from a set of group of characters, I can go for slicing, colon operator. Yes, it is useful. Any more doubts? String examples. Yes. See, for example, so I am just enclosing this within double quotes. Correct? So I am just printing the string at the output. And if I want to extract a specific character, say at the 0th index, whichever element is present in the string, so it will be displayed. So I have to give the corresponding index position within square bracket. And if I want to extract some specific characters from my string, so the before colon indicates the start index and after colon indicates the end index. And star operator, what is the use of star operator? If I want to multiply the string twice, so I can go for multiplication. So what are all the arithmetic, mathematically how you are performing similar things I am performing using strings. Is that clear? Python list, you will understand. So once you go for the real-time applications, as I told you, right, data science, I have to analyze the data. So accordingly, I can go for different types of data structures. How I am going to store the data. Variable and identifiers, Kiran, identifiers are unique names given to variables. So if I want to know what type of value a variable holds, so I can go for identifier. Say for example, I am doing some mathematical calculation. I want to store the average of values. I want to store the minimum, standard deviation, maximum. So I can give separate identifiers. Am I clear? It is used to uniquely identify the value that a variable is holding. This is called as reserved keywords, as I told you, right, Gokul Raj. So reserved keywords, for example, I am having classes and objects in Python. So there is a reserved keyword called class. It is used to define a class. And if I want to store some, that is define a user defined function, it is defined using the def keyword. So when I am dealing, just I gave an introduction. So when I am going to discuss in detail, you will understand. So what do you mean by reserved keywords? For example, so I have to define a function. So it is defined using the def keyword. So am I making sense? So what do you mean by that is reserved keywords? Or if I want to define a class, it is defined using the class keyword. Is that clear? What do you mean by reserved keywords? So they are reserved for some special purpose. Is that clear? Someone asked me, right? I didn't remember your name. So once you got, please acknowledge. Variables and identifiers. See, for example, this is a variable. Am I making sense? So, if for example, if this variable holds an average, so I can give this as average. So, this is called an identifier. Am I making sense? So, from this name, you can just understand that this variable holds the average of 10 elements or 5 elements. Someone asked me, right, what is the difference between a variable and an identifier? Actually, my chat box is rolling a bit faster. So is that clear? Please acknowledge. Once your doubts are clear, please acknowledge. Anish Raj, as I told you, right, just now I told you, what do you mean by reserved keywords? For example, I have different concepts available in Python. I have classes and objects. I have different, that is, topics. So if I want to define a class, I have to use the reserved keyword class. So it is a special word or a reserved keyword. So am I making sense? So what do you mean by a reserved keyword? Please acknowledge. Once your doubts are clear, please acknowledge. Reserved keyword, is that clear? For example, I am defining a user defined function. I have to use the def keyword. So this is a reserved keyword that is available. Anish Raj, right? Someone asked me, what do you mean by a reserved keyword? So is that clear? So whatever I am talking, is that clear to everybody? Any doubts? Please acknowledge. Which one you are asking, Preeti? So, what is the first line? Which one you are asking, Preeti? Python libraries. As I told you, right? Pandas, Numpy, I will be discussing. So, Sai Kumar, if you are interested, mobile, as I told you, right? Pydroid 3 app. So, if you are interested, Sakshi and Zoya, you can go to pantechelearning and you can register for data science internship program. So, you will be getting access to the IPYNB files, the lecture notes, how the videos, the projects are being developed, more hands-on experience and classroom instructions will be given. So, if you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning and you can register for data science internship program. Any doubts? Pydroid 3 is the app for mobile. Any more doubts? Any more doubts? Classes and objects, Sandeep, it is a OOPS concept that is available in Python. So if possible, I'll cover whatever maximum I'll cover, I can cover. Alright. So all these are called as reserved keywords. Please acknowledge. Once your doubts are clear, please acknowledge. Data types. Don't need to mention data types. See, my chat box is rolling very fast. Pyplotlib 3 is the app for mobile. Any more doubts? Actually, my chat box is rolling faster. Literal still in Python. That is, a sequence of characters is called as a string literal. Reserved words, Anish Raj, I was telling you, right? There are some special words that are available. For example, if I want to define a function, def is a reserved keyword. They are going to perform some specific functionality. Inbuilt keywords that are available in Python. Am I making sense? Any more doubts? Data type is the type of data that a variable can hold. What happens when you use double quotes in string? I'm using double quotes, right? What is your doubt? Class is nothing but, so OOPS concept you would have heard, right? It is nothing but an entity. For example, if I want to, so once I go for that topic, I'll explain you what do you mean by classes and objects. That is classes and objects. So if time permits, I'll just cover what do you mean by classes and objects. It is nothing but an entity. For example, if I want to store the details of an employee. So employee is a class and that various fields like the employee name, the role, that is the employee ID, designation, all these are objects or member variables. It is nothing but an entity or a template. It is called as a class. Any more doubts? String in the reverse order. See, colon -1. So if you are going to give it that way, so you can just print the string in the reverse order. So you have to use it this way. Colon operator in the reverse direction. 1 minute. So if I am going to give it this way, colon -1. So you can see here, it is printed in the reverse direction. Someone asked me, actually my chat box is rolling fast. Any more doubts? Yes, you can do. You can. Tuple is immutable, list is mutable. Any more doubts? Double quotes, Puram Sai, I am using double quotes, right? Python is very useful for doing data science or data analytics. Yes, you can edit list, dear PSI. Kitty, if you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning. You can register for data science internship program. So you'll be getting access to the IPYNB files, how the codes are being developed, the lecture notes. So more hands-on experience and classroom instructions will be given. Yes, you can edit list, dear. Any more doubts? Literals. So as I told you, right, Shravan, string literals. So it is nothing but a collection of characters. It is called as a string literal. Any more doubts? Any more doubts? Any more doubts? App name Pyplotlib 3. Any more doubts? Any more doubts? It is a paid one. If you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning. You can just register for data science internship program. You will be getting access to the IPYNB files, how the codes are being developed, the lecture notes, more hands-on experience and classroom instructions will be given. If you are interested, you can go to pantechelearning. Mathematical topics in data science. So if you know the basics of mathematics, statistic functions, it is enough. Alright. List is a collection. It is not a collection of data types. Collection of different types of data elements, Ram. Negative indexing list. So similarly, you can go. See here, if I want to fetch from the last, you can go for See, for example, colon minus 1, if I'm going to give, I'm going to fetch the elements from my last. That's all. If instead of I'm giving like this, so I can give colon minus 1. So I'm going to fetch my elements from my last. So am I making sense? I'm sorry, I have to give here. Any more doubts? Any more doubts? Sweta Murugan. Negative indexing. So if I want to print the list in the negative direction, I have to use it this way. Colon minus 1. Variable types. What do you mean by variable types? So as I told you, right, all these are the different types of variables. That is whole number values, decimal points, that is string. Sequence of characters is called as a string. So all these are different variable types that are available. Maya Python module, as I told you, right, all these are applications of Python. So if I want to build some sort of movies, so that is movie apps. So all these can be developed using Python language. It can be integrated with front end and I can develop movie creation apps. Yes, Python. So I am covering the basics of Python. This is basically data science. So I'm just covering I'm starting with Python and then what are all the essential libraries, and slowly we will move into the data science section. So am I making sense? Any more doubts? Data science course. Any more doubts? So you have to give the corresponding index locations, Shravan. So if you want to print alternate numbers, you have to give the corresponding index location. The colon operator, you have to give the corresponding index. Say for example, I have to start from 1. So till whatever index I want, I have to give the corresponding index, so it will fetch the corresponding elements. So if I give the corresponding index position, it will fetch and it will be printed at the output. Any more doubts? No, you should have some background knowledge. So once you register, I'm slicing. Roshni, as I told you, right, if I want to print the string in reverse direction, I have to go for colon minus 1. So am I making sense? Any more doubts? Text analysis. So as I told you, right, string functions, all these are different functions, string functions that are available for text analysis. So I have different types of algorithms for analyzing text, vectorizers, and I have naive-Bayes algorithm for text analysis. Once you register for internship, you will be getting more details about when the classes will start and everything. No, you with some basic knowledge, you can attend the internship. Yes. This is a data science class, Sandhya. So I am just covering from the basics of Python. So I'll just cover the basics. In order to learn data science, what are all the essentials? So I'll just cover the libraries. So first I'll teach about Python. Then I'll cover the libraries. What are all the essential libraries that are required? And then we will move into the topic. That is the data science topic. So what are all the different topics I'm going to speak about data science? Am I making sense? List 1 of 0. So see here. So the indexing starts from 0. So at the 0th index, physics is stored. So it is getting printed at the output. So in arrays, how the elements are being stored. So at the 0th index, physics is stored. At the first index, chemistry is stored. At the second index, 1997. And at the third index, 2000 is stored. So am I making sense? Python is a high-level language. So someone asked me, right, how it is printing the first. So at the 0th index, physics is present. So it will be printed at the output. Any more doubts? Variable types, Charan Teja, as I was telling you, right, what are all the different variable types? Integers, floating points, strings, and then characters. So Sweta, if I want to print in the reverse direction, so I am extracting all the elements. So minus 1, it indicates the reverse direction. So from the reverse, I am just printing all the elements from my list. That is the meaning of colon minus 1. Data science projects, yes, Shaik. So once you attend this data science masterclass for 30 days, so I'll be explaining you about the projects as well. Is that clear? Am I making sense? Any more doubts? Anaconda Navigator, it is the distribution, and Jupyter Notebook, it is the tool that is used for development. Any more doubts? Advanced Python programming, so I'll be discussing about classes and objects. So whatever I'm able to cover, I'll cover within this 2 days. Is that clear? Any more doubts? Any more doubts? Classes and objects I'll be discussing. So any more doubts? So as I told you, right, it is an easy language, Kritika, and applications can be developed at a faster rate using Python. So all these are the major reasons I'm using Python for data science. Variable types, as I was telling you, right, all these are the different types of variables. So if my variable is going to contain integer values, whole number values, it is of integer type. If it is going to contain floating point numbers, it is of decimal point numbers, it is of floating point type. And if it contains a sequence of characters, it is of string data type. So all these are the different types of variables that are available. Data science is not a part of Python, Krishna. So data science, it is one technology, it is developed. So data science, how we are going to analyze data? It is all the data science projects are developed using Python language. Any more doubts? Anjali, what you want? I am not able to get you. List once again, repeat. So which list you want to repeat? Which list you want to repeat? Any more doubts? So I am storing some elements and I am fetching some based on index location. I am fetching some elements from my list. Alright then. Tuples and booleans. So those two are different. Why you are mixing tuples and booleans? Sakshi? Booleans, they are going to return true or false value. Tuple is nothing but a collection of elements. Any more doubts? You can attend the internship online or offline. I'll explain. Data mining is different and how data wrangling. So once I'm going to cover all these topics, right? So today is my first class. So when I'm going to discuss with you in detail, I'll explain what is the difference between all these things. Any more doubts? Alright then. Remaining things we will see tomorrow. Same time, same link. Thank you all.